So I know that the potential of this video being misconstrued or even quoted out of context is pretty high. Well, I don't blame the people that are going to misunderstand what I'm going to say or misinterpret it. Well, I don't particularly care. However, what I'm going to say here, I am hoping that somebody that has some kind of logic is going to pick it up and run with it. Now, guys, I was just sitting the other day and I was thinking, and I'm just looking at a lot of things. I mean, my mind runs wild. And when it runs wild, I sometimes cannot sleep. And I was looking at Afroforum. Please, don't misquote me and think I am praising Afroforum. But instead, Afroforum is teaching us a lesson. There's a lesson that we have not picked up. Some maybe have, but most of us haven't. Why? Because we've been emotional. And when you are too emotional, things pass you and others, they fly over. And then you miss the opportunity to see something positive that you can apply in your own life. I don't support the Afroforum. As a matter of fact, they are problematic as far as I'm concerned. But they are still South Africans nonetheless. And they are protected by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. And that is something we're going to have to deal with, right? But I am not about Afroforum. I am about the concept of Afroforum. In South Africa, we've got townships, we've got informal settlements, we've got peripheries, and we've got rural, we've got cities and towns. But in South Africa, the population, the greater population or the majority population, of course, because of the doings of the past, obviously the apartheid regime that made sure that black people did not benefit from the regime, whether economically, socially, whatever it is that today we have that was abolished because of 1994. Those are the facts that we, all of us, have to acknowledge, whether you want to bury your head about it or you are in denial about it, because I've seen some people who say, oh, apartheid again. Yes, because there are remnants of it and also consequences that some South Africans are suffering because of it. It's a fact. It might not affect your hands, you're a little bit blind about it, and it's flying over your head, those that are apartheid apologists and denialists as well. But I'm not about that, guys. As a matter of fact, if there is one thing or one word or vocabulary I would like to just leave, is exactly that: apartheid. And then look into current and the future. All right? It's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. But now and again, these things are going to be talked about. However, I am not one that is a apartheid excuse maker. No. I personally, Clantis Dumagute, believes that leadership should never be formal. Leadership should be taken. What do I mean by that? Formal leadership is often accompanied by red tapes or bureaucracy and processes. And not only that, for these processes to be implemented, they first have to go through a slew of discussions, debates. I mean, imagine debating whether South Africans should go to bed full or hungry. Why is that a discussion? Why is it a discussion that a pothole needs to be filled? Why there should be a discussion why food prices have to be reconsidered now that, tariffs as well as VAT is going up? Why should you even have a discussion? You see, when you discuss, the period to deliver takes forever. While people are waiting, twiddling their thumbs, hoping that whatever they ask for gets delivered. Versus when you take leadership, there's a pothole in front of your house or on the road when you are going to work, and then you have to go around it. You take leadership by doing what? By filling it. That's what you do. I know some people say, but that is illegal. The legal people are not doing anything about it because you've been complaining about it forever. So sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice something from your family and take leadership, use that money to fill that pothole. If it's sewage running in front of your yard, you're going to wait until you get sick or possibly even lose a family member because of the toxicity of the sewage running in front of your house? Instead of saying, listen, guys, in this block where we are affected, let's put together or 20 rand, 50 rand or 100 rand and get a plumber. No, we wait, fold our arms and hold a wall that is never going to fall, because the people sitting in the council houses that you voted for, they don't care. They don't care, because immediately they are done doing their debates. Instead of implementing, they hop into their fancy cars and go to their fancy estates, where the estate is well taken care of. It's got like gardeners, it's got land mowers, landscapers, and then they're able to even, if before having dinner, walk out with their golf bag and then, hit some few teas while you having shit stinking, while you're cooking and eating and going to bed. So now the point that I'm trying to make here, it is about the concept of Afroforum. But as I was looking at Afroforum, and it came to me that there are two things that Afroforum, could be more, but the ones that I picked up, two things that they are fighting for the most. The first one is preservation. It's the preservation of the Afrikaans language, the Afrikaans culture, traditions and values. That's what it's about. Whether that is whatever it is that they are about, that is what they're preserving. They are also, while they're preserving and seeing the things that they want to preserve are threatened. Again, take it anywhere you want. These things are threatened. So what did they do? They gone to the second element of what Afroforum is about: development. Now, in order to preserve their culture, customs, and values, what do they need to do? They need to separate themselves and build an entire community called Orania, where they could continue preserving their cultures, values, and customs, or whatever else. Right? Now, we have townships. We know in our townships what is lacking, what we've been begging for the past 30 years. Now, because some of us lack emotional intelligence, we look at these people who are saying, well, we are going to utilize our organs in preservation and development of our people, and Afroforum was born. Now, to be a member of Afroforum, you have to pay a sum of 100 Rand a month. Right now, I stand to be corrected. They have a membership of 300,000 people. Now, what is 300 multiplied by 100? Is that not 30 million Rand? Every month, I could be wrong with my math. Correct me if I'm wrong with my math. Every month, they collect 30 million Rand guaranteed. Every month. Now, if you look, if you go to Centurion, I forgot what the street called. You travel the freeway, take left off ramp and turn left. I don't know. You as you drive, you will see the Afroforum headquarters. And you can tell that those headquarters were built from the ground up. Yeah, we know. They hold 72% of the South African land. It's a fact. So somebody who owns land in Centurion was like, oh, what do you want? Land to build what? The headquarters of Afroforum? There, we will donate so many square meters. It's there in Centurion when you go there. Now, let's come to our townships. In South African townships, there are always open spaces. There are always empty spaces. Whether that space is owned by government or that space is owned by the municipality, there are open spaces nonetheless. What have you thought about that? You know, when I was growing up, you know this thing of Korana, I don't know what you call teasing each other. I remember I'm a Zulu guy, so we used to have sleepovers, and while we were busy having sleepovers, so Kwarana, like, you know, and then when they were quarring me, they would say, Zulus. So, you know, when there is a Sutu, a Xhosa, and a Zulu person walking in an open space, you know what the Xhosa person is thinking? He's thinking, here I could farm and make millions of rands. And then the Sutu guy will be like, if I can build a canal here, and then either I build houses, and then the people will use that river to drink water and also farm and all that stuff. Basically, they have developmental mind. But the Zulu person will say to these two that he's with in that open field, hey, daughter, if I had to chase you with this Sagila, you know there's no way you can hide. Yeah. I think you get the point. That's the stigma Zulus have, that we are violent for YouTube purposes. Anyways, guys, that's not where I am. There are open spaces in our townships. Who has ever thought of developing those open spaces for the purposes of the community benefiting from that? Apart from car wash, because that is mostly a selfish business. It's just to take care of me and my family. But I'm talking about the community. Has anybody looked at that open space, and they're not too far from the open space? Maybe sometimes that open space is used as a dumpster. Has anybody ever thought, if I can build a smallanyana recycling plant there and take all these dirt, in most cases, the houses opposite it, they suffer the consequences of what's coming out of those dumpsters. They are informal, they're makeshift, and people just dump because it's an open space. They don't care about the people. Now, the people staying there, instead of them smelling this to a point where they don't smell it anymore, have you ever thought, if I can build a recycling plant? But now, of course, I understand you may not have the information to build a recycling plant. Oh, what is recycling for that matter? There are YouTube videos that you can watch free of charge, of course, your data or Wi-Fi. You just sit and watch how to establish a recycling plant. And then, once you've learned, put together a business plan. I know. And then hope that when you put it with the government and say, listen, in my community, we have this informal dumpster. And then in that dumpster, there's an open space. I would like to build a small recycling plant. Who is it going to benefit? It's going to benefit the community. Okay, it must still be your business, but still it will be benefiting the people in that community, because they're no longer going to be perceiving the rot and the toxicity of those dumps. We haven't thought about that. Instead, we want to put a car wash next to the dumpster, and you, as well as the car wash, you dump things there too. But Afroforum would have came there and built a headquarters for what? To preserve and to develop. What is there in Soweto that needs to be preserved? What is there in Soweto that needs to be developed? I will tell you, People coming from outside, they look at Soweto and say, ah, we like this. Oh, that open space, we will build a mall. Remember, our townships are known to where the economy is. And it's a fact. The economy is in our townships. That is why when China comes and builds China City, it's not too far from our townships. They want to make it easier and cheaper for us to reach them. And in most cases, they will be on the way to town. They will be on the way to your job. So as you pass, you always see it, Chinatown. And then what do? They then fix the prices for you to say, oh, this is cheap. So instead of going past Chinatown to the city or wherever, you will say, Nzalo West, short left into China City. Because they see the potential of them making more than a bottom line. And they take all these profits to Beijing. Not to Santon, to Beijing. Yeah. But now, why are we not thinking that way? Us. I know, again, when 1994 happened, instead of building on, things were dismantled. Apprenticeships were dismantled. And if you ask the ANC, why did you dismantle apprenticeship? They don't have the answer. They don't have the answer. You ask them, why did you dismantle teachers' colleges? They don't have the answer. Why did you dismantle nursing colleges? They don't have the answer. Why did you change the education system that was producing geniuses and contributed greatly to the world? They're not going to tell you why. They have no. Instead, they'll tell you, "Oh, we made a mistake 30 years ago." That's what they'll tell you. They made a mistake, and as a result of that, they worked and designed your brain so that you do not think beyond your nose. That is why those open spaces in our townships are the way they are, where you don't see an opportunity because you're not supposed to see it. But somebody that comes from outside will say, what? Case in point, while the city of Johannesburg was busy raiding, they came across a purification plant owned by, guess who? A Nigerian. You know, when I saw that, I was like, smart. But I got angry at the same time. You know why I got angry? I'm not angry at the opportunity he saw. I'm angry at the fact that he was stealing from our municipality electricity to run that business. And secondly, the thing that also upsetted me is the fact that he disrespected our immigration laws, which says that if you are going to open a business in South Africa, you must invest 5 million rand ahead. So he disrespected that. But smart. Now, I don't know if you've seen these mini loaves. They're about this size. I don't know if you've seen them. They're actually my favorite, to be honest. These mini loaves, you will not find them in our conventional stores. But instead, you will find them in Pakistani stores, the Nigerian, I'm talking about the tuck shop, the Pakistani tuck shops, Nigerian tuck shops, Somali tuck shop, Bangladeshi tuck shops. They will be there. And when you walk in and you're looking at the loaf of bread saying 21 rand, and then you look at this mini loaf and you're like, but I don't want to have the whole bread. Let me take this one. It's always nice and soft. Very, very fresh. And then one day I was going to work and then I saw this Datsun. You know a Datsun, that minivan? It had those breads like in cranes. And then they were delivering them in these tuck shops. Because I decided to follow them. Like, where are these bread, number one, coming from, and where are they going to? Because you don't see them at ShopRite. You don't see them at, I almost said, okay, revealing my age. You don't see them there. They are planting them all in these informal shops owned by foreign nationals. And then comes me, because I love that bread. You know, if I want to make it order, I don't buy your normal bread. I buy that one and stuff all my things in there. Guess who came with that concept? Nigerians. So that means somewhere in Joburg, there is a big bakery that produces these mini loaves en masse. And how much do you think that Nigerian is making? There we go. But we have e-order in South Africa. And we still go and use the old conventional way of e-order. We have bunny chows in KwaZulu-Natal. And if you can produce bread that are designed for this concept, no, again, I don't blame you. I blame the people that took over in 1994 and watered down our capabilities and abilities to think so that we can preserve our families and develop our communities. That's what they did. That's what they did. So I was looking at our population. I'm talking about township population. You go to Soweto, I'm going to be reading my notes here. You go to Soweto, the population is estimated between 1.8 million to 2 million, but let's say it's 2 million, the population. And now let's bring in the Afroforum format or concept. If every Sowetan that earns money, right, that earns money, whether you earn money through grants or you earn money through your small little business or you earn money from working or whatever the case might be, as long as it is legit. Let's say 2 million people contributed 100 Rand into an Afroforum concept-like organization, Soweto would make 200 million Rand a month. Soweto will make 200 million Rand a month. Okay, maybe 100 Rand might be too steep. Let's say, okay, the membership is 20 Rand. Soweto will still make money in millions, about 50 million Rand, right? Or 40 million Rand. 40 million Rand. Then let's go to the township of Tembisa. The population is estimated at 500,000. How much would they be making a month? 50 million Rand. If it's 20 Rand, 10 million Rand a month. You go to Alex. The population is about 200,000. That's a good clean 20 million Rand or 4 million Rand if it's 20 Rand. You go to Soshanguve with 800,000 estimated population. How much do they make a month? 80 million Rand. Or they would make about 16 million Rand if the membership is 20 Rand. You go to my township where I was born, Hammersdale in KwaZulu-Natal. 65,000 the population. How much they could be making a month? 650,000 Rand a month. If it's 20 Rand the membership, 130,000 Rand. You go to Umlazi, the population is estimated to be 1 million. That's 100 million Rand if the membership is 100 Rand a month. Or 20 million Rand. You go to Mbali in Pietermaritzburg, 35,000 the population is estimated. That's 350,000 Rand. You go to KwaMashu, it's about 200,000, which I think is more. But let's say it's 200,000. They make 60 million Rand a month. You go to the Cape Flats in the Western Cape. The population is estimated to be around 600,000. And how much do they make? 60 million Rand. Mafikeng, it's estimated to be 320,000. How much would they make if they had a Afroforum concept? 32 million Rand. Do you see? We are sleeping on money, and that money bores opportunities that could change our lives for the better. But instead, you know what we are doing? Exactly how the ANC designed us? To be like this. Do you know what this is? That's a begging hand. That's a handout. Ramaphosa, take care of me. And Ramaphosa will be like, I like this because this is how we will remain in power. We will tell them the money comes from the ANC, which is a lie. Which is a lie. They come to you every election season and say to you, well, if you vote for a different political party, they're going to take away the grants. That's a lie. South Africa, even the apartheid government, used to pay grants to black people. Yeah, some of us will remember. I remember my grandmother used to get grant from the apartheid government. They used to go to Nkantolo. They used to have a magistrate in Hammersdale. I think it still exists to this day. They used to go to that magistrate in Hammersdale, and then she will come back with, you know, the plastic money, the coin money bag, the transparent one. Yeah, obviously that was a lot of money. I don't know how much. Maybe I think it was 50 rand. 50 rand back in the day used to fill up a trolley of groceries. Everything you needed in your grocery was in the trolley, filled up. Why? Because taxpayers paid the government to take care of people. And if you want more evidence, they built the 4-room houses, the apartheid government, some of which you grew up in. I grew up in. Well, in Hammersdale, we grew up in the 5-room part of Hammersdale. Oh, Unit 4 Ganje. But the majority is 4-room houses. You know why? Because the government's responsibility is to take care of its citizens. That money comes from taxpayers. It's by law. It's not coming from a political party. ANC is broke. And now that they're going to be sanctioned, they'll be even broker. There we go. So we were designed that way, to be like this. So when we are like this, Ramaphosa wants to remain in power. Guess what he does? Maybe not him, but I'm talking about his ANC. He will hop on Ikwezi, which is the presidential jet, flies to Beijing, and also does this. Xi Jinping, I need $50 billion or rand, whatever. I need to remain in power, so I can pay 370 rand to my people. Ask Zambia where they are today. Ask Zambia what do they own today, because they owe. Let's use the Mashonisa concept. You and I know Mashonisa. They are there in our townships. Those who don't know what a Mashonisa is, it is a loan shark. And they are heartless. If you can no longer pay them, they come to your house and they repossess things that are important to you. Your bed, your television, your microwave, your stove, maybe some of your clothes that are designer, and walk away to recover how much, the amount that you owe them. And they can determine how much that is. They could even take your entire household if they want to. So if you cannot pay your debt, the debt collector comes and collects. That is why Zambia today don't even own their own national broadcaster. In South Africa, we got too many things that are precious to us, that make us money, that also gives us national pride and national security. And guess what those are? Those are our airports. Those are our harbors. Those are our mineral resources. Imagine we can no longer pay Beijing all the money that we owe them. They're going to come and repossess SABC. They're going to repossess our harbors and airports. Yeah, because we are here begging. Instead of using our minds and saying, okay, how do we do this? And I am saying, let's adopt the Afroforum concept for our townships. Let's have a political structure. Now, this political structure is not a political party. It is not a structure that is aligned with a political party. This is not a structure that gets government business or does business with government. This is not a structure that gets influenced by politicians. They cannot approach it, and the structure cannot approach politics either. Their job is two and two only: to observe the political landscape, to see if the political landscape it is working for the people of Soweto. Because remember, the people of Soweto, they contribute 100 Rand every single month to this concept here, Afroforum. For what? For preservation and development of Soweto. Preservation of their interests. That organization needs to make sure that the political landscape it is conducive for the interests of people of Soweto, just like Afroforum protects and defends and also implements the interests of white Afrikaners who are members of its organization. Are you waking up? And then the second thing they will do is whatever political party that is in charge, and it is not doing things in the best interest of the people of Soweto, then this structure comes and advises the voter in Soweto and say, we need to vote this party out. It is not serving your interests. Do you see why it should be detached from politics? And the people in charge themselves cannot be seen whether they are invited to a gala dinner. No. They are forbidden from mainstream politics. Their job is to observe the political landscape so that they can advise the voter accordingly during elections. No political party must try and convince these structures to convince their member to vote for it, or any political party. Now we go to the business structure of Afroforum. They own farms, they own manufacturing plants, they own warehouses. Recently, they started their own Uber-like, transportation, Varantu. And who is the drivers? Their own people. Everybody was angry. Emotion, just emotional. Instead of saying, hey, this is actually a good thing. Yes, it might be discriminatory, but why don't we do the same thing that Afroforum is doing by having membership of our township, so that people in the township, they contribute X amount of money so that we take this money and then we also develop our own transportation system like Uber. When you order Uber Eats, or you order Woolworths Dash, or you order Checkers 60, guess who comes and deliver your groceries and your food? It's not a South African. No, it's not. But if you had a Afroforum concept like, guess who will be delivering food to South Africans? Yeah. Because that money, we would have taken it, made advertisement in our townships for those that are interested to train to drive AMA scooters. And then we have a training center with scooters. And then we take those men and women, sibafake kule msebenzi. to deliver pizzas and all that stuff that Uber Eats and Wilderness Dash and all those things do. But no, what's it in your heart when you see a foreigner delivering your food? I've seen some of y'all drivers. Yes, some of them, they drive recklessly. But some of you South African drivers, because in your hearts, you abuse them. Instead of saying, hey, wait, hang on a minute. This is actually a great idea. Why don't I take this concept to my township? We are not a scooter country. And I'm telling you, if we are not careful, sooner or later, these guys, I've seen it, I think I was in Campton Park not so long ago. Scooters, they are now the new Ubers. They're doing exactly what they do in their countries. You know, when you go to Nigeria or Ghana, or you go even just down here in Malawi and them, if you point up, a scooter comes and then you hop on it and then it takes you to your destination. While they're busy riding to your destination, somebody is pointing up and then NASA new 3 in this tiny little thing. I saw it in Campton Park. Some of them, they even guise it with a Mr. D thingy at the back. You think it's a delivery. No, it's a transport. It's a whole transport. And they keep bringing these scooters into South Africa, and you have to ask yourself, who is at our borders monitoring all of this? Because this is smuggling. But we are not there. I digress. The point that I'm making here is somebody could just use that open space in the township, buy a couple of scooters, and then train young people in their community so that when Uber Eats or McDonald's or whatever produces what you call these things, job opportunities, you are able to send them there. Because they got the experience, they know how to ride these things. South Africans. Again, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. It's how you were deliberately designed not to think beyond your nose. That is why when outsiders come, all they see is milk and honey. All they see is milk and honey. Not because they are desperate, but because silele on top of money. Yeah. So now can you imagine with the figures that I've given you about the populations and how much we would make respectively from our contributions? And this is not the money that's going into for entire township. That's government's responsibility. I'm talking about your township. You know what needs to be done in your township. You know what needs to be developed. You know what needs to be preserved. Because no township is the same. Alex is different from Tembisa. Tembisa is different from Soweto. Soweto is different from Katlehong. And definitely townships in Gauteng are far different from the townships you will find in KwaZulu-Natal or coastal areas, because they have their own things. It's not the same. So now, why don't we contribute by establishing these non-profit companies? Non-profit companies, so that e-government does not come, you know, oh, you're making 200 million? Give some here. No. You get your 200 million rand and then you develop this political structure I'm talking about in your community. But before this is done, you know, there are, like I said, there are communities in our townships where you have abandoned buildings. There used to be a supermarket long time ago, probably in the 80s. It used to be a store. Because of tax shops coming with foreign nationals into our townships, that structure became a white elephant, where now kids go play. Some people, they take materials from there to build in Vienja. Right? And then, of course, those open spaces. And then there are abandoned houses for a variety of reasons. Either the family, when one of the kids or all the kids went to school, got to university, and now they had good jobs, and now they moved the family to Sandton, and they abandoned the township house. It's not occupied. Some of these houses, families passed away because of AIDS. Some of these houses, criminals came and wiped them out, and now they're just standing there doing nothing. Why don't you approach the, number one, find relatives of that family, and then from there go to the municipality, because they also have deeds copies, or the title deed copies, or title deeds itself, registry, and say, listen, we acknowledge that this house or this structure belongs to somebody, but we would like to repurpose this structure so that it does not become a drug den or where it harbors criminals in our communities. We want to repurpose it either by stripping off the materials and then repurpose the material in building a headquarters for the things that I'm going to mention in this video. Just like how Afroforum, when they built their headquarters, they don't pay rent in that building. It's theirs from the contributions of its members. We build headquarters in our townships, and then these headquarters must also have branches so that people don't have to travel far and long to get to the headquarters, either to complain or to contribute something or whatever the case might be. But they can go to the branch, and the branch will always have to report timelessly to the headquarters about a situation. Right? But they are just standing there, those structures, just standing there, creating all kinds of havoc in our townships. And then it's a non-profit organization. And then in that non-profit organization, non-profit company, guess what we have? Variety of departments, just like how Afroforum has variety of departments. Yeah, you see, when you open your pantry, most of the food stuff that you see and you consume, guess who owns them? Afroforum. Yeah. The alcohol that you drink, guess where it's coming from? Oh, did I tell you it comes from Afroforum? Yeah, it does. So many things that you have in your household comes from Afroforum. You know why? Because Afroforum cleverly developed different businesses. Yes, 72% of our South African land is owned by them. So since they own 72% of our land, guess what is also happening in your own life and your lifestyle? You are supporting them without you knowing. So how about you redirect that to you and in your community? I just heard an Afroforum executive going, fuck man. Yeah. Why are you giving these people ideas? Because you're taking away our money. Anyways, they have variety of structures within them, and they are maximizing on us to make themselves even richer. It's not just the 30 million rand they get a month from their members, but the businesses they also own, plus businesses that their members own. So we're talking billions here, tens of billions. That is why their political wing hopped on the plane, went to the White House, and cried genocide. And then when Donald Trump was like, terrible things are happening in South Africa, terrible things, and we're going to sanction them. And they forgot something very important, AGOA. But that is the point that I'm making here, that they have a political wing that they've established so much so that they want to tell the world about their plights in South Africa. And yet, they control almost the entire economy of this country. You can deny it all you want. It's the truth. But I am saying we need to utilize that concept so that our own interest is preserved. And out of our interest, the preservation of our interest, we must also be able to develop ourselves. There are such wide open spaces in our townships. You can even do farming in some of them. A whole farming. If it's not farming, you can literally build a manufacturing plant. Now that we're in the fourth industrial revolution, you can plant an entire AI plant, supercomputers, that will provide services not only to South Africa, possibly the entire African continent. And guess who makes money? Soweto makes maybe trillions, not in rands, but dollars, US dollars. That those vast open spaces that we have. All we have to do, we go to the government and say, well, it's not used. What are we supposed to do? If the government says you need to lease it, then yeah, out of the contributions, we lease that piece of land. But no, we are here. That's where we're at. And then establishments of other things. You look at Afroforum, most of the private hospitals that some of y'all go to. Johan Rupert. You think Johan Rupert is just a billionaire staying in Stellenbosch and he has no ties with Afroforum? And you go to his Medicare clinics with your medical aid? Getting any ideas? Imagine, out of the 200 million rand that Soweto gets, build its own concept of private clinics. Right now, we are getting a lot of people coming to South Africa for a variety of reasons. They're coming for tourism, they are coming as digital nomads, others are coming as expats of countries, first world countries. They come with pounds and dollars and euros. Yuan, yen. They're coming here to South Africa. And do you think when they fall ill, where they would go to? If you have a private hospital, your township owns several of these private hospitals, guess where that money is going into? It's going into your NPC. And then guess who is the shareholders? It's the community. Imagine every year you hold annual general meetings where dividends are divided. And then let's say Soweto makes about R1 trillion a year. We're talking serious money here that will go into your account. Every household in Soweto gets this annual payment for being part of this NPC, because you contribute. I see busy on my stokvels. That is all we're busy with. Stokvels. There's nothing wrong with stokvels. As a matter of fact, I like stokvels. But it would be nice if stokvels also had a development plan for its members, where some of the money that you are contributing towards the stokvel also does some kind of business, owning a farm, owning Uber, owning shares. If shares are introduced to be sold, they go and buy those shares. It would be nice. And I'm not saying there are no stokvels that do that. Possibly there are. But it is not benefiting the entire community. Instead, it is building classism. Imagine every Sowetan gets 5 million rand in their account because of the profit they've made of these businesses that are conducted in Soweto. Because it's not going to be one business. It's going to be a variety of business. Like each section of Soweto does something, manufactures something. Again, let's go back to the Nigerian who was caught with a water purification plant. Let's say Shawelo was the one that was producing pure water, and its pure water is packaged and placed in all these big retail stores, your ShopRites, your Woolworths, Pick and Pay, you name them. Some of them maybe even get exported. And then you go to Deep Kloof. In Deep Kloof, what they do there, they have a bakery, or they do bake. They bake biscuits, they bake the bread, they bake all these things that when we have a party or Christmas or a funeral, we have them on our tables, right? But instead, we go to Afroforum bakers. Yeah, you remember, the assorted biscuits that we eat, and South Africans love Oros. And I don't mean to laugh. I'm just letting you know, Heineken that you drink. Oh my gosh, did I say that? Hunters? Did I say Hunters? Savannah? Oh, did I touch Savannah? Guys, imagine what you call this place, Pimville has a brewery and a distiller, an alternative to Castle Lager and all these others. Imagine. All of these guys can be learned online. You no longer necessarily have to put together tens of thousands of rands and go to a college. All you have to do is take that money, make advertisement, and invite chemical engineers in your township. They are there. Chemical engineers, so that they will come and develop or invent a beer that is going to first be consumed by the people of Soweto, those that drink. A distiller, I don't know whether it's whiskey or I'm not sure with alcohol, guys. I'm just taking chances with this one. Brandy, whiskeys, different spirits, ciders. And then you go to another section of Soweto, let's say what's it called again? I almost say Glen Acres. But the Glen somewhere there? Not the Glen, man. Why are Sowetan townships now skipping my mind? But you get what I'm trying to say. Each part of Soweto, the headquarters is in Soweto, and it's got all these different business ventures in each section of the township. All that money comes into the account of this NPC. And then the whole general meetings, and then dividends is shared amongst every household in Soweto. Just like an Afroforum. I don't know how we're going to learn all of these things, but here are the business types that we should think about. Choose 1, 2, 3, or all of them. We have sole propriety. If you feel like I have a business concept and I do not want to sell my business concept to the rest of Soweto, then have a sole proprietor that will do business with the NPC of Soweto or whichever township. Partnership. You can have partnerships with your friends, whoever. You can have proprietary company, personal liability, public company. Well, public company is like where you start a company and then you put it on a stock market, sell shares. Is that the way you want to take that route at the end of the day? I think at some point it would be a good idea, not all the NPC, part of it. I don't know if that is even allowed. Franchises, we busy running to Steers and KFCs and McDonald's and all of these places that don't hire South African citizens. The NPC can go and purchase these franchise, Chicken Licken, bring it to Soweto. I'm using Soweto because it's the easiest for me to remember. And then you bring them there, and they all fall under this NPC. There is state-owned enterprises, of course. We're not going to be doing that with the state, and that's not state-owned or state-owned NPC. So we're not doing business with government, because if we do business with government, that means tenders. And we know with tenders, the politics there, which also includes unalivings. And we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be losing people. And of course, non-profit companies or non-profit organizations. We need to choose. What do we do out of the money that we would have collected? Can you imagine collecting 200 million rand for the next 5 years? This is a political term or a parliamentary term. Because these people come and lie to you. Oh, we'll do this and we'll do this and we'll do this and they don't deliver. So imagine they come to you and you're like, now see grand. Why? Because you already have probably trillions of rands, or it could be like maybe hundreds of billions of rands the respective NPCs will have. Already development is taking place. Because when you are collecting all this money, you need to start with the most important things, like schools. Build schools instead of you going to fight Amabunu in the town, in the suburbs, and forcing them to remove Afrikaans and instill English because your kids from the township, they want to come to this school. Instead, let's learn from the Afrikaner school and then take that concept to the township and get the best of the best teachers to come and teach in the townships. You know, back in the day, when I started school, I remember mathematics. I don't know if I'm wrong or right, because I only did 1 year of township school when I started. Mathematics was called Ibalo. And then I remember my grade 1 teacher used to teach Ibalo in isiZulu. U1 uhlanganisa no 1 wenza u2. Futhi wayengasho like 1 2. Okunye ukuhlanganisa no, I can't remember. I'm sorry. I don't even know how to count in Zulu. Yeah, I'm a coconut. I've said this before. First generation coconut. So instead of going to fight Afrikaners for their space, we say, oh no, it's cool. We have our own in our townships. Because of the money we've collected in the past 5 or 10 years, we are building the best of the best schools. On top of that, we're even building private schools elsewhere in South Africa, possibly even on the African continent. That money comes straight to your township. Universities.